Hey there, it is Sunday morning and I just released a video on resquaring my squares. This is the steel one and I haven't done the inside of this one yet. Okay, and in the video I said you need a second square, so I could use the first square that I squared on the outside and the inside to fix the inside of this one, or I could just make up, you could say, a go, no-go gauge, which takes a little bit of time. You want to make it from metal, not wood. Wood could kind of work. It would get it close, but the better way is to make it from metal. What you would do is you would make kind of a C, okay, straight-sided C, like that. That fits over the blade, what this is supposed to be, or the smallest place on this where it is, and it fits on. And if it stops right here, you need to do a little bit of filing in here, okay, because you already know that this edge here is perfectly straight. Not perfectly, because perfectly doesn't exist, okay, but they're very straight according to your precision straight edge. Okay, you can't see any daylight through that. You can't see me through there. So that means it's straight. Anyway, so what you do is you make a go, no-go block or gauge, and you slide along this surface until it slides without any play. Okay, so that's a little bit more tricky because you have to make the block. You have to make two of them, actually. You have to make one this wide and one this wide. Now you could get fancy with it and make one that's adjustable, or you could also use the calipers. Hang on. Yeah, the calipers, you can use those to measure. Okay, I'll do it here. Okay, so this is fitting in here. Now you need to be consistent with the way you hold this. That is the trick. Okay, so you hold it with the thing against the body, and you'll do that consistently all the way along. Okay, so then you lock it here. Actually, I'm not quite there. You lock it there. Okay, and then you slide it down, maintaining the same attitude, you could say. And if it hangs up, that means you have to do some work there. And the video hasn't been up very long, but I've gotten some comments already questioning the methodology, I guess you could say, how precise things are. One question is how precise this edge is here. And there is a way to check it. And to do that, the easy way is to take a piece of metal and clamp it down tight to the piece of plywood. I'm using a short piece of linear rail for that, and I'm using my brand new clamps to clamp it down very tight. And then I can take the straight edge and put one side right up tight against that bar so that it can't move. You're going to pull this in real tight. And then I'll go out to the other end and make a mark. And then I can flip the straight edge over and do the same, pulling it up tight against that metal bar. And once again, go out to the end and look at where it lands. Now, because of the angle of the camera, it looks like it's away from that line, but that's just the chamfer that's made on the edge here. If I reposition the camera to look down from the top, you can see that is actually right on that line. And while I have it here, I'm going to do the same check with my aluminum extrusion to see how close that is. Do one side, then flip it over, and you can see that this is a little bit less straight than the straight edge, but it's pretty darn good for what it is. When I clamp this down to the edge of the plywood, this piece here, I didn't have very much straightening to do at all. When I put the dial indicator on it, that was riding on this straight edge. Okay, set a very minor tap at the end to get it like 0.1, not even 0.1, say 0.05 millimeters, you know, closer to straight. So I was very careful setting this up straight according to this, and I checked it. I didn't show it in the video, but I flipped the straight edge over and put the back up against it as well and checked that. And there was no gap. They were straight against each other. So doing that with both of these should give you some confidence that what you have is accurate enough for what you want to do. Because unless you're working for NASA or SpaceX or something like that, this is not, you know, the end of the world if you're slightly out over the distance of this straight edge. It's certainly not for woodworking. You don't need anywhere near that kind of precision for woodworking. Guys think you do, but you don't. Another comment that I saw that I answered was, you know, the means to speed this up, you know, by using something other than the file. Now, I used the file for both of them, and I believe that is the best approach. Even for someone that's got, you know, a lot of, you know, good muscle memory for working with stuff like that, with something like a power tool or some sort of grinding thing or something like that, unless it's a really high precision unit, which is going to cost a lot of money, you're better off sticking with the approach I show, which is taking off very little at a pass. Okay, very, very little at a pass. I compare this to machinery bed scraping. If you've ever seen guys doing that, they have a carbide scraper that they rub on the surface to make that crosshatch, that very cool looking crosshatch pattern. And what that does is it makes the contact area for the whatever they're scraping more uniform. So you're bearing full on the surface. You did that by scraping away the high points. And it's almost exactly the same thing here. This file, as it passes over this edge, is not taking very much at all. And given that this square, the steel one, is actually hardened to a point, you're taking very little. But you are going to have to do quite a bit of work to get a nice, clean, straight edge like that. Okay? But your patience pays off, because what you wind up with is something that when you put it up against your quality straight edge, and you can't see any light coming through all the way along it, then you've got something that you can rely on. So that takes care of the edge, but what about square? And the way I did it in the video is you can use the edge of the square itself, make a mark out here, and you know, you can make a very fine mark with a marking knife. I used a pencil in the video just for expediency, but if you want to have super high precision, you'll want to make a finer line there, not a pencil mark, which is fairly wide. But the point is, you use your good straight edge to extend the blade out further, and that increases the accuracy that you can measure because you're going out further. You know, if you look at your pivot point here at the bottom, right here it's only moving like a 1/4 inch. Up there it's moving like an inch or more. Okay, so you're increasing the accuracy that you can measure by extending that arm out. And then you flip the thing over and you measure it again, and you see the gap between those lines, either positive or negative. So the reason why I want all this accuracy, because I'm going to go ahead with something that I threatened, changing my wood lathe for metalworking, turning it into a metal lathe. Okay, not a, you know, $50, $60, $100,000 machine, big production machine, but one that I can use for the times when I want to do that. Okay, because I can count on two hands the number of times I've used that lathe since I moved here, and I can count on one hand the number of times I used it before I moved here. I've owned that for, I don't know, 20 years, probably. I'm no good with dates or remembering stuff like that. But yeah, I've owned that for a long time. Okay, longer than I've been on YouTube, I've owned that lathe. Now, when I get it off the stand that it's on, that I made the stand a few years ago from steel, and the stand was designed so that I could park something underneath it. And what I parked underneath it, what's over there right now, is the jointer. Okay, so the lathe comes out of there, comes off the stand. I take the stand out to repurpose it for something else, okay? And I put the lathe on my freshly cleaned off workbench here and leave it there for 6 months. I still haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do with it, other than the ways on the machine won't be the cast iron ways that are on there now, which are good for woodworking, of course, but they're not flat enough, not stable enough for a tool rest for doing metal, unless you're doing very tiny parts. I ordered linear guides, very similar to what I used on the CNC, except a little bit bigger. And that will be the ways. I guess it's Y or is it Z? I don't know. I've never used a metal lathe before. So whatever the axis is that's along the bed, that'll have, they'll all have linear bearings on them, okay? So that way, and the cross feet, okay, that'll be linear guides too. And the reason why I'm using that is because you have to believe that if they had that technology back when they designed the original metal working lathes, they would have used that rather than doing the cast iron precise fit that they did. Okay, I think that's what they would have opted for, a beefy arrangement of that, linear bearings, okay? Because all they need to be is straight and bolted down and you're good to go. There's no scraping, like I mentioned before, to make your ways fit together properly so that they'll slide, so they'll be fully supported, slide properly, and have a thin film of oil in there to kind of float on. There's none of that with that. You just take those and you check to make sure that they are straight, like I did on my CNC. I had a lot of guys saying, those things aren't straight. Well, I got news for you. The ones I used there, according to this straight edge, are straight. So I was going to do that, but it'll be a long-term thing, and I think it would be a build series again, very much like the CNC, so that I can, get no views on it. But yeah, I'll be starting on that fairly soonish, but it won't be the main focus. Like for, I don't know, 2 months, I was working on the CNC and I was obsessed with it. And at the end of it, or near the end of it, I got burnt out, as always happens. And the reason why YouTubers burn out quickly, because they have to do every frigging thing. They have to do the project, run the camera, edit the video, everything. They have to do it all by themselves usually. Okay, some guys these days have cameramen or editors or stuff like that. I'm still doing everything myself because I don't want the hassle of trying to deal with someone editing a video in a way that I don't like and then having to try to explain to them what I don't like about it and all that. So yeah, I do everything myself, and therefore I get burned out because it's just too much of the same thing over and over again. Anyway, I've been rambling on here for some time, so I think I'll go in and get warmed up, have another cup of coffee, and check out more comments, if I get any, on my video.
Hey, are you wearing eyeliner?
What? Right on. So I'll catch you later?
Yeah, okay. Good night, Corbett.
Good night, Reese.